It is finally here, the debut album of Don West, and we are here to review it. This is All Gas, No Trash. My name is Adam, and welcome back to the program, and welcome to a brand new episode. Before we get underway, we do have to do the Game Rage No Curse Minute, where we kill the first 60 seconds of the program in order to play nice with the YouTube algorithm, with no cursing and no swearing whatsoever. I'd like to give a quick thanks to everybody that has been listening to the program on RSS, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you've been listening. We sincerely appreciate it. And especially those that have been following on YouTube, liking, commenting, subscribing. We also appreciate you a great deal. We now have our count at 132 subscribers, so I really appreciate everybody that has joined us on our journey and continues to support us. Just overall, thank you. And that'll be the Game Rage No Curse Minute. We'll do a bit of a reintroduction to Don West for those that aren't familiar, but if you wish to know more, you can check out the previous episodes we made for more information. But in the meantime, Don West is an Australian soul artist that is based in Sydney, one of the main figures in the Australian soul scene, along with Ella Thompson, Surprise Chef, EJ Warland, and of course Wilson, who released her sophomore album, Bloom, which we also did a review on if you want to check that out. I think we'll be listing it at the end of the episode if you want to give it a listen and check it out. So just wanted to promote that real quickly. But as far as things I wanted to cover, I do want to give the proper credits to everybody that worked on the album, but it doesn't seem like it's a laundry list, so let's go ahead and do that next. Give Me All Your Love is written and performed by Don West himself. We also have Nathan Hawes, who has writing and producing credits. And lastly, Give Me All Your Love is released under mandatory music. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the first track of the album, which is Day to Night from Don West. Pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice. Once again, that track is Day to Night from Don West. Going in. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called Day to Night. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. I hope you bought condoms and Plan Bs, because we're going to be making some sweet, sweet love with Don West for the next, 35 plus minutes. I think it might be a little bit more than that, but what a great way to open the album. It's an invitation to the world of Don West. And while I do have a slight criticism that the song is a little bit on the hammy side, it's still kind of par for the genre. I mean, there's a line in the track where he says something along the lines of putting love in a bottle, and that it's easy to access. And if anybody has, if somebody were to have any troubles or woes, that they can just open this and make all that go away. Let me see if I can find the exact line, because I do have the lyrics available. So there's a part where he says, "Rainbows shoot across the floor, full of ebbs and constant flows. Get your loving from a bottle, so you can leave those troubles at the door." And I do kind of think it is a little on the funny side to describe love as this like destination where you have your romantic partner and you're in this wonderland where everything's okay and there's nothing to worry about, and all you want to do is spend all your time with this person. And he even says something along the lines of we can make all these shapes. And I'm kind of wondering if that's a euphemism for sexual positions. Let me see if I can find the exact line, because it's kind of funny. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, so we have the verse where he says, "Kissing under neon lights, young hearts trying to feel all right. I would open my heart to you. Think of all the shapes we'd bend into. You know it's true." Yeah, man, that is to me that is a euphemism for sex. And then of course we have the allegory of somebody kindling your life, setting your soul ablaze, and you are the candle and the other person is the flame that ignites your spirit, I guess. It's like I said, it's a little on the corny side, but it's kind of par for the genre, so I'm not going to take away points for it in that regard. But just an overall enjoyable track, and I do want to get to the next one because we have 9 other tracks that we got to get to. So let's go ahead and listen to the next track, which is, well, it's none other than Give Me All Your Love, the title of the album itself, and it's also song 2. So pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice. We are listening to Give Me All Your Love from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with this track called Give Me All Your Love. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Man, if you already haven't lit some candles and aren't drinking some wine, what the fuck are you doing? That was a very fucking hot and sexy track. And there's some lyrics I wanted to point out, especially in the beginning where he says, give me all your love and attention, or give me all your love and affection. I'll give you all my love and attention. All of those little words we can't mention causing all of this sexual tension. There's also like this imperative nature to the track, a carpe diem moment where he says we can risk it all tonight. The only way out is through. It's not forever. It's now or never to make this dream come true. You know, there's something to be said about that where we all know we're going to die. So why not share those feelings with the person that we love most and do those acts of devotion, whether it's, you know, whispering sweet nothings or, you know, writing songs about the person that you love or even poems. And what I like about this track is that there's no mention of money or material things like, you know, I guess monetary things, to say that what we really all need is somebody to be there in our lives through all circumstances. We just need somebody that's going to give us like time and attention, right? It's not somebody that's going to, you know, give us a giant house with the red door and the white picket fence. There's no mention of that. And I really appreciate that about the songs that we've heard. And I'm not sure if that's going to continue, but I sure appreciate it. And yeah, this is more of a laid back track. It's kind of got like a little bit of a doo-wop feel. And there's even like a moment where Don West kind of has a little bit of a falsetto in his voice, and you have the really great guitar tone that shows up again here. And I'm not sure if the horn section shows up as frequently as the previous track, but this definitely has more of a stripped back sound. And, you know, I have to say that I really enjoyed this track. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the next track, which is, let me double check here. I don't want to get it wrong. So the track is Julia, so go ahead and pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice, and let's give it a listen. Once again, that track is Julia from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called Julia. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. You know, the damnedest thing just happened. I just got some news that 4 billion women just decided to change their names to Julia, and that's been the case since Friday. I wonder if Don West has something to do with that. Anyways, that's just me joking around. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think this is the best track that I've heard from Don West on this album. And it's really dynamic and explosive. And the part that I really enjoy is when he gets to the part where he says, ooh, I've been going through the changes, skipping all the phases just to make you mine. You're so fine. Who's my girl? You know, he does a lot with his voice there where he kind of gets a little bit smoky, gets a little bit sultry, but then he also does like the, you know, the falsetto at the very end. But the part that I really like is when the horns are kind of ascending with his voice. Yeah, just a great buildup in the track. And then you also have the release just after that. But, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this because on a track like Friends, where in the very beginning, Don West talks about beating off to an ex-girlfriend. He is kind of cheeky in that way, and I do wonder if the part where he says, let me just read the whole part. Dangerous, you're playing with my tenderness. Oh, why? It's not a game to us. Who's keeping score? Free to love, she's free to love. I don't know why I did that, but I had to do the backing vocals. That was the other great part of this track is the backing vocals. I also enjoyed that, but the part that I wanted to concentrate on was who can take these shackles off now that I'm strong enough, baby, to let you inside. And I don't know, man. I'm thinking maybe that's an allusion to bondage or something, but that's just me speculating. But anyways, as I said before, this is one of the stronger tracks. It's possible that it might end up being the best track on the album. So let's go ahead and find out and listen to the rest of the album. So we have the next track for you, which is Send It Back. Pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice. Once again, that track is Send It Back from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with this track called Send It Back. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. You know what's interesting about this track is for Don West to talk about communicating with an ex-partner through the form of snail mail. I don't know why that's interesting because, for most of us, it's done through text or maybe even email, or even a phone call, but to send letters to another person seems kind of like old school. And I think that's just like a really interesting concept to talk about, especially in modern times. For a track like this, or even a soul song, to revisit something that's probably outdated at this point. But as for the song itself, I think it's one of the better songs. I think it's as good as Julia. Maybe it might be just under being second best as far as the songs that we've heard. I also like the preposterousness of Don West trying to take things off his mind, and he would be willing to swim an entire ocean or climb an entire mountain to just kind of put his mind at ease, wondering if he's going to get this letter back. And I think this is the chorus, but the part where it says, if I told my love, will I ever get it back? And then it repeats again. And then that part where the backing vocals come in when he says, unconditional surrender, surrender. And then the last part where it says, or will it be returned to sender? I think that's just so clever and fun. And again, it's somewhat humorous to talk about the lengths that you would go to to just ease your mind to swim an entire ocean or to climb a giant mountain. I think it's rather funny, and these are two stellar back-to-back performances that we've heard from Don West with Julia and also Send It Back, but this is just a great fucking track. It's so dynamic and explosive and jubilant, while it is about a relationship that is on the fritz. It's so lively, man. Like, I love this track, and I think it might be second best or even tied with Julia. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to the next track, which is, let me just check it out here. The next track is called How Long, so go ahead and pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice, and let's give it a listen. Once again, that track is How Long from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with this track called How Long. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. I would expect a track like this from a band like The Sacred Souls, and the song that comes to mind is Weak for Your Love. I think there's a similarity in tempo. The parts that I enjoyed about this track almost have nothing to do with the lyrics, but if I had to point out something, it's the idea of portraying distance in the song. It seems as though we're getting this continuing narrative that there is a problem in the relationship, or there are problems in the relationship, and now we are at like the separation phase, and perhaps maybe there's no chance of reconciling. But what I do like is how Don West is able to portray distance with his voice, with these long drawn out notes, and whatever vocal effects are added on to create that distance or that sense of distance is very cool. I think the MVP of the track, oddly enough, is the drum kit. I don't know if it's the way it was recorded, but I just really like the way the drum kit sounds in this song. So shout outs to whoever was the studio engineer for how he set up the mics to track the drum kit, but it sounds fucking amazing. And I want to give a shout out to the bass player for whoever has been playing bass in the album so far. They've been doing a spectacular job, especially with the last two tracks with Send It Back and also How Long. I really love the melody that was played on Send It Back with the bump 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 ba bump bump ba da 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 da. And also this one. I don't know how it went, but I really enjoyed the bass that was laid down on this song, and the tone on that guitar, man, like the jangly I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like any of the previous songs that kind of were more on the jazzy, like R&B side. This one's more kind of in line with like what you would expect for soul music, but overall an enjoyable track. There's nothing really for me to point out as far as the lyrics go. I mean, like I said before, it's kind of getting the idea across that there's problems in the relationship, or perhaps we're at the end of the relationships with no chance to potentially reconcile. But overall, just an enjoyable track. So let's go ahead and get to the next one. And this song is called Never Love, so go ahead and pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice. Once again, that track is called Never Love from Don West, going in. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called Never Love. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. All right, so this track, I think, is in the upper echelon of songs of the album. I think this is probably number 3. It's definitely top 3. I think it's in the third spot. It's not as good as Julia or Send It Back, but it's certainly up there. And the reason that I enjoy this track so much is because of those old school organ keys. And there's also an additional set of keys in the background, and whether it's like a synthesizer or whatever is creating the sound in the background, I'm not entirely sure, but the feeling or the idea that it gives me is "Oh Honey" from Delegation. That melody that is played on that song, the beep boop boop boop, beep boop 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 beep beep, boop boop beep boop. I fucked it up, but if you are familiar with Ice Cube, there's a track that he samples that song in one of his tracks, and Kali Uchis also samples that song or copies the melody from for Lottery from her album called Por Vida. And you know, it's just that similarity or likeness that reminds me of Delegation on this track. The other reason that I enjoy this song is because of the specific part where it goes, "Money couldn't buy you what you're selling. If it's real, happiness is cheap. Love is free. Believe in me." I like that part in particular because of something that I said about "Give Me All Your Love." That I really like the fact that Don West gets the idea across that money should be no thing in a relationship. It should be about the time and attention that you devote to somebody. It's the acts of love that you're willing to do for somebody that means more than anything, as opposed to like buying people things, whether it's a house or a ring. None of that shit matters. And he even kind of points it out here where he says, if it's real, happiness is cheap, love is free. And I also like the part in the beginning of the song where he says that this person that's in his life kind of brings tranquility, and he kind of writes it in a clever part. So there's this part where he says, "You calm the storm that's always raging, not a word or a way to explain," as if to say that this person that's in your life, you don't really need to maybe even say it in words, like you just kind of understand each other at that level, uh, maybe non-verbally or whatever it is. And there's also this part where he says, when you need some peace of mind, you will always take a peace of mind. We might fuss, we might fight. Am I always going to pay the price? Oh, I think I might. But, regardless of whether or not you are uh, in a good phase or even a bad phase of relationship, that you guys are willing to stick it out and bring, overall bring happiness to each other, add to each other's lives. And I really like that in this song. So, uh, anyways, I do want to get to the next song, which is called uh, Did You Have to Go? So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Once again, that track is called Did You Have to Go from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called Did You Have to Go? Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. I do have a critique that I want to share, and it has to do with the lyrics. While I do like the song, there is a portion that I don't really care for, and it has to do with the analogy of making this comparison of this romantic partner to the sun, but then you kind of insult the listener by kind of repeating the lyrics where it says, "Lover, did you have to go away? The sunlight on my darker days soothed my soul. You were kissing at my face and neck," which is something that you already mentioned in the first verse. Kind of ruining this analogy. Like, we were clever enough to figure that out on our own, and now you have us now you're kind of just like spelling it out for us out in the open within this song, and I just think that's kind of insulting, so I have to ding you a point for that. But I do enjoy the track. I love the harmonies from the backing vocals on this track, and I don't know, man. I don't know why you did that, but I just didn't care for it. I think it's a little bit insulting for us not to kind of piece that together to understand your cleverness with making the comparison of your romantic partner to the sun and how they greet you in the morning and all that crap. But yeah, I don't know, man. That was a weird choice. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next track, which is called So High. Pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice and let's give it a listen. Once again, that track is called So High from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called So High. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. I don't know what to think about this track. I don't think it's one of the better songs on this album. I think it actually might be the worst because of the lyrics talking about a woman that appreciates vinyl records and doesn't listen to the radio. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? Like, she's into retro crap. Like, who the fuck cares? I just don't have anything nice to say about this track, so I just want to get to the next one. So let's go ahead and give a listen to Dreamin', which is the penultimate track of the album. It is song 9 of 10. So go ahead and pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice. Once again, that track is Dreamin' from Don West, Going In. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called Dreamin'. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. What a marvelous way to come back from the previous travesty of a song. I think this song might actually be number 3 for me, and I'll have to push back Never Love. It's not as good as Send It Back or Julia, but it is up there. And the reason that I love this particular track is the vocal effects that are added onto Don West's voice. It sounds like he's singing into a well, or perhaps he's like taking a stroll underneath a bridge or an underpass, and he's like singing to his girl, and the acoustics of the underpass are in such a way that it creates an echo or reverby effect, and it's just so dreamy and watery and echoey. I don't know, those are the words that come to mind for me, but I had mentioned previously that I felt like Don West was trying to get this idea or notion across of like carpe diem, that we shouldn't hold our feelings or thoughts about somebody, that we should just, blurt it out that we love somebody and, do acts of love for that romantic partner, that special someone in your life. And it's so cool to see that there's something of a full circle moment in the lyrics talking about how the world's going to end and you're really just cherishing this time with your loved one. I mean, there's like some of the lyrics here where he says, "The sky within turns blue, you drink from the lake of love, you're bound to be consumed. Hold on, the sky is falling, walk across the clouds like you're dreaming." And then there's also a part where at the very end he says, and I don't know if I have this correctly for the lyrics, but it says, "Hold on, the stars are falling ground," and I think that's a typo. It might be falling around that it should be. And it says just after that, "The light of a million suns burning, burning for you." That this doomsday scenario, the millions of stars that are falling from the sky are burning for you, is just kind of like a beautiful imagery that is painted in my head, even if it is somber and perhaps even melancholic to talk about the end of the world. But, you know, if you are in that situation, wouldn't you want to spend it with the person that you love most? But I just love this track, and the organ keys are spectacular. The guitar, the drum kit, it's just all very excellent. And it was such a great way to come back from the previous song that I, didn't really care all that much for. But let's go ahead and get to the last track, which is, hold on, let me double check and see what it is. The song is called "Queen of the World," and it's a song where we have Meg Mac featured on it. And I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of prefer to have just an album with Don West. I'm not really particularly fond of having features on it, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. So once again, that track is "Queen of the World" from Don West featuring Meg Mac. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. Pull it up on your digital stream platform of choice. Once again, that track is "Queen of the World" from Don West, going in. Welcome back. That was Don West with his track called "Queen of the World." Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Fuck my life, dude. That was certainly a choice to include or feature Meg Mac on the song for the parts where it says, "My man tells no tells," and then also at the very end, the outro of the song, she also has a small part in. I don't know. I mean, largely I like the song. Everything that had to do with Don West was fine, and I do like the message of it's you and your girl versus the world, and any hardships she's experienced through her relationships, any manipulation, all that shit. You're willing to be her knight in shining armor, that you'd be willing to die for her and take on any burden or any suffering because you care about her so much. And she means the world to you, to the point that she is the queen of your world. I love that, but I feel like Meg Mac kind of ruined this track a little bit, and I feel like I have to take away a half point, because that part where she sings "My man," what is it? "My man tails no tell." It sounds like when a cat, like a female cat, is having sex with the male cat, and the male cat's like sticking in its barbed penis, and they start like yelling or screeching. That's what Meg Mac's vocals sound like in that part. It's not pleasant at all, and it kind of ruins the song a little bit. So I'm gonna have to ding it a half point. I do enjoy this track. I just wish this track ended on a better note. Sans Meg Mac. But let's go ahead and get to final thoughts and the score. For final thoughts, I'd like to say that I largely enjoyed this album. I think the highlights of the album are "Send It Back, Julia," "Never Love," and "Dreamin'." Now, I do have some small criticisms that I stated previously. I didn't like the part in "Did You Have to Go," where Don West had to spell out the analogy of a romantic partner being like the sun. I think that was a bit insulting to the listeners. I didn't like "So High" to write a song about a woman that's into retro stuff. I mean, we kind of get the idea that you're into retro things, for you to play soul music and to have your music videos portrayed in like this old, like Super 8 aesthetic or whatever you want to call it. Like, we kind of get that idea, and I don't think making a track about a woman that is into that stuff is all that particularly interesting. And lastly, the choice to include Meg Mac as a feature on Queen of the World to end the song, which was a great song, but I didn't particularly care for her parts, her vocals that sounded like a cat getting fucked in the ass. I just wasn't all that into it, and I think you actually would have gotten a higher score had you not included her, especially for a debut album when it's kind of all about you. I kind of wish you just kind of stuck to that. But that's more or less like the criticisms that I had about the album. I'm only going to ding you about 2 points for that. So, for 10 songs, I think I could give you an 8 out of 10 for the album. I feel very comfortable with that. And as I said before, throughout all the songs, the vocals from Don West were spectacular. The instrumentation was great. The mixing was fantastic. There's so much to like about this album, but if there were some tracks to skip, I would say So High, Did You Have to Go, and, that's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to listen to Queen of the World, but as I said previously, it's not my personal favorite, but if there are tracks to be enjoyed on this album that are real highlights, once again, Send It Back, Julia, Never Love, and Dreamin'. And that's all I got to say about the album. 8 out of 10 for Don West's debut album, Give Me All Your Love. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll be seeing you all on the next episode, and I'll see you next time.